to the Wand Cast. It's the chapter-by-chapter reread of the Harry Potter series with an accusatory grabber on the side.
Wow.
Nate, I wish we had video for that. Nate and I just both pointed our wands at each other, and we did touch tips, if you were wondering. I'm Aaron, and I'm here with my two favorite Hufflepuffs, Jade and Nate. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm sorry you weren't in on the tip-touching action.
I'm fine with that.
Seriously prefer the term crossing swords.
Okay. I will try to remember that moving forward.
Okay.
On this episode, we are reminiscing through chapter 22 of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I will post again.
The last one.
The last
We
chapter.
made it to the last chapter.
The last chapter. We still got a couple more episodes that are going to be coming out, but this is the last chapter. And in this chapter, Snape accuses Harry of doing exactly what he did in fact do. Hagrid, quote unquote, explains all of last night's events to our crew. Harry tries to get Lupin to stay, and he and Dumbledore discuss prophecy. Then the trio reminisce about the year's events as they travel at a magical velocity.
I thought you were gonna Lupin to stay, prophecy, velocity.
Nate, rewind. That would have been better. But yeah, just real quick, I know we mentioned it a few episodes ago. We are going to have a back cover where we're kind of going to discuss the book as a whole. We might get a little more spoilery in that one. Maybe kind of talk about the series. You know, we try to stay spoiler free. We try to only talk about what we've read so far. But back cover is outside the book. So we should be able to talk about things outside the book, right? Kind of makes sense. Sort of, kind of.
We can talk
Maybe.
about whatever we
That's
want.
true. It's our fucking podcast.
That's right.
Yeah. Keep an eye on the feed. But for now,
Not the feet.
not the feet. Do not keep an eye on our feet.
That's our only thing.
You
Yeah, that's on the only
You
thing.
dirty, dirty people. Before we get into some deep dive discussions about the chapter, I think we should remind ourselves what happened last time. So on the last chapter, Harry and Hermione just did a little bit of time travel.
Just a little bit of time travel. No big deal.
Yeah, and they saved Buckbeak. And then Harry realizes that it was actually him that cast the day-saving Patronus the whole time. It was not his father. And then they fly up, they help Sirius escape, and watch as he flies off on Buckbeak into the night. A pursued, but a free man, sort of, kind of.
Free bird.
Yeah. Harry, it's kind of sad, though, because he gets to watch his godfather fly off free into the night, right? That's happy. But then also he's like, fuck. I was going to
Yeah.
live with that dude.
Yeah. It really kind of a gut punch of a victory. Like, you're coming out with some bruises.
Yeah.
You know, like, technically everything's better than it was, sort of.
Yeah, we kind of fixed it.
Yeah.
It's bittersweet.
Yeah. But yes, and that's right where we pick back up. We pick back up with Sirius having left, and Hermione very quickly tells Harry, or reminds Harry, that we have only 10 minutes to get from where we are down to the hospital wing. Because, just trust me, bad things are going to happen if we don't.
It's a temple run. Let's go.
Yeah. And they, on their way back down, they hear Snape and Fudge, who are apparently on their way back up to see Sirius. And, you know, they kind of hear him over talking a little bit more. You know, Snape's mentioning about he sure hopes Dumbledore's not going to, you know, just be weird about this. Like, Dementors are just going to come up and kiss him, right? And Fudge is like, yeah, that's the plan. Like, Black is going to get kissed. Going to get kissed.
Go get kissed. Yeah, and
They should've-
Dumbledore, historically, the most purely logical dude in existence.
They really should have called it something other than a kiss. It's hard to, like, it just doesn't sound scary.
Yeah, I
The
will
Dementors
say
suck.
when Snape
better.
was threatening Lupin or was threatening Sirius with a Dementor's kiss, the way
Yeah.
he brought it up was just like, "Oh, maybe they're gonna give you a little kiss," and every time he said it was just kind of skin crawly, which is maybe why she called it kiss.
True.
But
True.
it's gross.
Yeah, didn't care for it.
Do not care for, can confirm.
Well, they also successfully hide from Peeves, which I feel is not something that happens normally in the book. Peeves always catches people.
Gets his way into shit. This is a good move, though, because Peeves is not the dude you want to run into right now.
No. And Hermione even kind of just throws away mentions that, like, Peeves is probably a little bit distracted because he's just excited that, like, he's going to be able to witness a Dementor's kiss, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so, like, he's ecstatic. But they do, in fact, make it back to the hospital wing in time. And I know, Nate, you kind of mentioned that you really like something that happens here because they do. They get back to the hospital wing just as Dumbledore is closing the doors, locking Harry and Hermione in the hospital wing.
Yeah, so we talked about in the last episode how everybody is super announcy about what they're doing. So Dumbledore is just coming to the end of the part in the last episode where he's like, all right, I'm locking you guys in here now and then leaving. And then he closes the door, turns around, and asks them how their fucking mission went. Like 3 seconds later. It is the coolest fucking thing. And like we were talking about the Soderbergh boxes and how like Ocean's 12, where they just follow Dumbledore through the chaos of boxes everywhere on the screen.
Yeah.
Only to close the door.
He's the constant.
They wipe all the boxes away and there's the three again. He's like, all right, so how'd you do? And I'm just like, fuck yeah, that is so cool.
It does. He just turns around, smiles, and says, well...
Yeah.
Well, and from the perspective of everybody else, Madame Pomfrey is in her little office off the hospital ring. She can hear that they were all chit-chatting. Dumbledore walked out, the door shut, and a couple minutes later, everybody else comes back in here. And then from Snape and Fudge, they took off just moments ago to go to Sirius, so they know that Dumbledore was in there alone. Dumbledore, they walk over to Sirius, get pissed, come back, run into Dumbledore, who's walking away from the door that is locked.
Right.
And then walk back up to him to the locked door. This is a total of like possibly 10 minutes, but probably not even that length of time for them to leave and come back. So
yeah.
There's no possible way for those two kids to have done anything without the aid of some shenanigans.
Well, yeah, because they went from a tower down to the hospital wing. Now, granted, they had to hide a few times, but they did that in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So we know that, like, the room that Black was in is closer than where Harry and Hermione started.
Yeah.
So, it's probably closer to, like, 5 minutes since Fudge and Snape left. Like, yeah, it's a very small amount of time.
Plus the hiding. Yeah, the window's very tight. And the amount of time they had.
Well, Snape and Fudge were going exactly to where... Oh, no, because they went upstairs. They flew up to the top of the tower.
They flew up to the top.
That's right.
Yeah. So they went a little bit farther and still made it down in just almost exactly 10 minutes. I do want to point this out because of something you said in the last episode, Nate. Dumbledore backs out of the hospital wing, closes the door, and takes out his wand to magically lock the hospital wing.
Yeah. Yep.
So I do
is.
think... that I am sure the room that Sirius was in, the door was for sure magically locked. Maybe the window was magically locked as well.
That's what
But Dumbledore was the last one in there with Black.
Yeah,
so
because for Dumbledore, he's representing the school. He is its main representative. He cannot be seen with his hands in any of this. And I think that's why he stresses that to Harry and Hermione. He's like, look, all of this right now, you and I know, we all know, this is not fucking happening, okay? And if anybody ever asks you about this never happened.
Yeah. It makes sense.
It's
it makes
the same
sense,
thing
for
that
sure.
Fudge is doing. It's just from the side of Hogwarts.
Yes.
It's in Hogwarts' best interest if nobody knows that we kind of assisted a wanted felon. I won't say killer, but wanted person away.
They still have no proof that he's innocent. They just know he is. From the ministry perspective, there's nothing they can do to prove that Black is innocent. They can just say he is. They
He's
have no
always
proof.
just going to be wanted.
Yeah.
It would be, though, like, very curious. How the fuck where did he go? How did he get out?
Oh, yeah.
Security at our school.
Question. Yeah.
What happened to him? He was locked in a tower. How did he disappear? I thought we couldn't disappear in Hogwarts.
Fudge does have an idea a little bit later about potential security measures for Hogwarts, so we'll get into it.
Yeah, and Dumbledore right now would be like, currently the security at this school consists of, let me check. Oh yeah, You're fucking Dementors.
Mhm.
If Sirius Black just escaped, why didn't they get him?
Yeah.
I know where they were dispersing, but he's not far away, and neither are they.
I don't
They've proven that they aren't great in the past.
That's just, it's so fucking funny. It's
Eyeballs
just
would
like,
help.
your plan was in place and this happened. So
Yeah.
can you leave it to me and my 13-year-old friends?
Well, Dumbledore gets told by Harry and Hermione that they were successful. Buckbeak and Sirius were saved. Everything is good. So they head back in. He magically locks him in. Pomfrey comes back out. And Harry even kind of mentions, he's like, no. Now is the time to shut the fuck up. I am going to sit in my bed and I'm going to eat the chocolate she gives me, which
Yep.
yeah, tough compromise, Harry. Oh no, how horrible. You have to lay down and eat chocolate.
It's because none of this shit ever happened.
Well,
technically.
yeah, that's also
right?
true.
And
Yeah.
so you're coming off of a super high.
That's what I was
your
gonna
heart
say.
is
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
pumping. You just pulled off some shit, and now you got to be like, yeah, I don't feel good. I'll take more. And just super calm
Yeah.
and healing kind of energy. That's going to be
You know what it
hard
is?
to do.
It's like when you sneak out at night
Yes.
from your house
Yes.
and you got up to some bullshit and then you snuck back in the window before mom and dad caught you, but you can hear them up in the kitchen. So you know they're coming in. So you gotta lay down in your bed real quick, really fast, because you had to change your clothes into your PJs real quick because you can't be wearing your night clothes out.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
gotta lay there and you gotta... I'm really sleepy. I have been here the whole time. Everything is fine.
Or
And
you
that
gotta-
is not easy to do.
Basement room with one of those super nifty windows that lets
Egress
you out
windows.
in case of fire.
Yeah.
Well, turns out if you leave them propped open a bit, they also let you in case of parrot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not, hey, because I do believe we've admittedly had a few people tell us that they listen to this and they are under 18. We've never done those things.
Hey,
You should.
It's not a crime. I totally did those things. I will
Damn
not
it, Nate.
encourage other people to do
I'm not
them.
encouraging
Do
it
at your
but
own
also,
risk. But that
Okay,
is the
well-
You're
thing.
also listening to this prior to 18 at your own risk, so you know what? You shouldn't take advice from us anyways. I'm just gonna say
Yeah, we're telling you what not to do.
Exactly.
Now, luckily, Harry and Hermione, they don't have to put on this charade of pretending to be, tired and all this because
Charade.
loud noises are coming from outside the hospital wing. And one Severus Snape is quite upset.
that. You know what? They have to have good acting though, because here's the thing. Okay,
Oh, my God.
If this just happened, if I just pulled off this bullshit,
Oh, yeah.
and I hear the teacher that I hate so much just fucking going off, and he's coming in, I'm going to be trying it's going to be so hard to stifle my smile and my laughter as he
Yeah.
comes
Oh, my
in.
God, yeah.
Because you have to be completely innocent. What's going
What?
on?
No.
Oh,
It's
that
the
would be so
seconds
hard.
before when you hear him coming down the hallway. When you hear Snape be like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Let me in there. I want to talk to him right now." Boom, door opens.
Yeah.
You, what have you been up to? You're like, what? No way am I pulling that off. And
That's
we're
what
like,
I'm saying.
I just woke up. What do you mean you just woke up? You were awake earlier. Oh, fuck yeah, you're right.
when?
I fell asleep again?
You seem mad.
Yeah. Why are
Like,
you
look,
so upset?
I'm going to be real honest with you, Snape. I don't know what the fuck I've been up to. You are legitimately going to have to talk to Hermione because I am so confused. I thought we were making out in a closet and then all this other stuff happened. I don't know.
Here,
Oh,
you want to know
guys-
what happened, Prof? I tried to make out with my classmates so many times tonight, and it never happened.
Just got shut down.
Listen, you said I was just confused and my head was so mentally messed
I'm
up.
still
Oh my
pretty
gosh, I'm so
confounded.
confounded. I couldn't know a
Oh.
damn thing if I tried.
I just need to eat more chocolate, I think.
By the way, that fucking chocolate was so cool. She brings in a boulder
Oh,
of fucking
yeah, yeah,
chocolate
yeah.
and then pulls out a hammer and
Hell yeah.
Oh,
chisels
yeah.
it off and it's like, here, have not a slab, have a fucking
I think
rock.
that would be my play out. As soon as Snape
hunk
comes in, I'm just like,
chocolate.
oh, chocolate in the mouth. Like,
I
mouth's
think
full.
I know
Can't
what
talk.
my new character in D&D is going to be. He is going to be a dwarf from the chocolate mines of Cocoa, and it's going to be badass because magic chocolate's a thing there too.
True.
You're gonna make a big Are you gonna make him chunky?
He's gonna be a chunker, all right.
Okay.
I think the other thing that would struggle, or that I would struggle with, is hearing what Snape says at first too, because he pulls a Hermione, and we just hear Snape from outside going, "You cannot apparate or disapparate in this castle." And if I'm Hermione, I am just staring fucking daggers at Harry, going, "See,
I
see,
fucking told
see,
you."
I told you."
But we made it in time.
Yeah.
Holy
but
shit.
again, you can't apparate or disapparate. But if you time travel, you can teleport. So, because they went from anyway. Snape does in fact barge in, but because the hospital wing has been magically locked, he is there with Fudge and Dumbledore. They all come in together, which I think does help the acting side.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
Dumbledore is going to have your back, and Fudge just thinks you're a stupid child. So, like,
He's got bigger shit to worry about.
everyone in the room
Yeah.
does not think that you've done something. Just one person does.
And let's be honest, Fudge has to think Snape's a bit of a dick, too.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
if he's a teacher and on the good side,
Yeah,
everybody
he's-
is getting Snape's vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's already said some things to Harry and Hermione when they woke up before the time travel. So, and now, he comes in and he accuses Harry of doing what Harry did. He goes, "I know you helped Black escape," because he did.
Yeah, he totally. I love the idea of Harry being just like, "Hey, do you hear how ridiculous that sounds?
Yeah.
I've been in here. I'm 13 years old.
It is wild.
Listen
Yeah.
to yourself now."
He sounds like a psycho.
Well, I think that's part, like, Snape comes in howling. Like, within 2 sentences, Fudge is, like, trying to reel Snape in. Not even Dumbledore. Fudge is just like, "Calm down, man."
Dumbledore's an agent of chaos. He lives for this shit. When everything is just wrong and all fucky, Dumbledore's in his element. I love that guy so much. But, like, yeah, Fudge tries to reel Snape in because he's firing off real fast. And I'd just like to point out an ironic twist from our last episode. Snape is having happened to him what the kids had happened to them in the last episode.
Yeah.
Where he's like, "No, it's like this. You're not fucking listening to me."
No one
And
would listen.
finally, it's flipped. How do you like it, motherfucker? Now no one's listening to you.
Yeah. And it's funny because if I were Snape, I'd be like, "Listen, this motherfucker has had a invisibility cloak and a fucking map that none of us knew about, and he's been sneaking around. My shit has gone missing. Everything that I suspected this kid of doing for the past 3 years has been proven correct tonight.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
someone's gonna listen to me." But also, literally, we left him 5 seconds ago, and he's been laying in this bed this entire time. And if
Yeah.
he was gonna help him escape, he would have done that earlier, right?
You would think so.
But how could he have done it? ...
I was going to say, Dumbledore even says, "Hey, Snape, Harry has been locked in this room. How could he help Black? Unless he can be in 2 places at once." So
That's just silly, right?
apparently, Snape was not told that Hermione has a time turner. Was that only between Hermione, McGonagall, Dumbledore, and then who knows how many number of Ministry of Magic officials that had to approve that process?
And none of her teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And none of the teachers said, "How is Hermione in both herbology and Muggle studies at the same time?" Like, this, hey, content creators out there, don't do time travel. It doesn't work. Just don't do it. It just makes things confusing.
Also, we're wizards, and this is a
Oh,
common
yeah.
enough thing to give to a 13-year-old witch, right? This is something that we have enough of, obviously. It's not in the short supply, so we gave it to a 13-year-old. But none of us are going to be like, "Hey, there are ways to be 2 places at once, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Let's not act
Technically,
like
yeah.
this is crazy talk."
Cast an
okay?
illusion.
No, but here's the thing. If you had a toy like that, are you going to tell Snape you have it?
No.
No, but it exists, so he should know that it exists.
Well,
He may know that it exists,
Not-
but as far as not telling everybody at the school that Hermione is doing this thing, as McG, are you going to tell Snape, the teacher who always puts his nose into stuff and like causes a whole ruckus, that this is going on?
My problem is not, I mean, I guess I questioned why doesn't Snape know, but how would Fudge not know? Should he not have to sign off on time turner use? He's the minister.
I think I just figured
Top
something
dog
out.
doesn't do shit.
Guys,
Yeah, that's true.
I just figured something
He probably
out.
did sign off on it and didn't read the paper.
Snape does know. They did have to tell him because even though he's a dick, it's the right thing to do when you have a student doing some extra things so everybody
That's
knows
what I
what's
would
going
think.
on.
Every teacher would know.
This is also the reason why I flipped my wand around. Now it's a pointer. Why Snape has been being a dick and taking extra points away because Hermione is
She's
taking extra
double-dipping.
classes and able to earn extra points for Gryffindor in any fucking class she goes to. We just cracked it again, guys. Third time in a row.
Yeah, but in that case, why wouldn't he be like, hey, all the adults in this room know that this bitch has a time turner, so why are we cut to the chase?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Damn.
We get to kind of the resolution of the night because Dumbledore, Snape storms out. Fudge says you should keep an eye on that guy, Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Dumbledore's like, he's just suffered a real bad disappointment. And then Fudge does bring up the thing that you mentioned earlier about better security. He just kind of goes, maybe we should have dragons.
Yeah, fucking dragons.
Dumbledore's just like, Hagrid would like that, I think.
So, Snape will not be teaching classes for children, especially not Harry in particular, right? That's not going to happen.
What do you mean?
So, like, he's shown open animosity towards a student.
Oh,
so
yeah.
he's not going to be placed in a position of power over those kids, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
He's at
Yeah.
least going to go on break for all the kids.
Yeah.
Particularly, he will not be placed over Harry, right? That would not be okay.
Yeah,
Somebody's going to step in on that, right?
Someone else needs to be the one that grades Harry for the year.
Yeah, 'cause that's not
Snape
fair.
needs a break for sure.
Yeah.
And I think we also are going to take a quick little break. And we will be back right after this. Hey, Nate, what are we drinking today?
Today we are drinking Age of Otters. Yes, you heard me correctly. From Three Floyds Brewing Company. This is a graceful and harmonious balance of rich malt sweetness and plenty of hops await. Swift, agile, captivating. The Age of Otters is nigh.
I don't know if I'm excited or terrified. I think I would choose to be on the side of the Otters, but what if they won't have me?
I might be a little intimidated. This one clocks in at 7%.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, if it's an IPA, at least it's worth it, you know?
If I have to join or fight against the Age of Otters and this beer is how I make my choice, I'm with the Otters.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's a good IPA.
Is liking the beer pro or anti-otter?
I'm assuming pro.
Okay, Aaron,
Yeah.
pro otter.
Like
You
I'm
all heard
assuming
it here.
the Otters made the beer. This is their declaration of like, it's Otter time now. Stop. Otter time.
I knew it. I fucking knew it was coming.
Okay,
Just
listen.
waiting for Nate to take a sip.
Incredible. You were too. I was like, Aaron's talking. It's safe now.
No, I think 7%. It's an IPA, and that is just wonderfully hoppy.
It's got the bitter, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's also some sweet there. What is interesting to me is that I don't have the feeling in my mouth at the end of that I get with a lot of IPAs.
Yeah.
That,
It's not quite as long lasting.
Like it moves my
Yeah.
mouth at the end of a drink, and I'm like, I don't like that. This, it's like I taste the flavor that I'm not super happy about.
Yeah, the IP
But it's
or
nice and smooth
IPA
on the
taste
end.
is definitely there.
Right, but on the end of it, it's like smooth.
Yeah, there's that malt. That malt kind of comes in.
So I kind of imagine, Jade, your marks might be a little bit low, but it does have that smooth bit on the end, and I enjoy that quite a bit, actually.
I think in the context of an IPA, it's going to be higher.
Okay. What do you got? What do you rate this beer?
How many
Probably
otter paws?
6 otter paws. I was going to go with the little, because they like the little rocks. They keep rocks in their pockets.
Oh, yeah.
They pick their favorite rocks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We got pictures of otters on the big
Yeah.
screen.
Oh, my God. And look at their best
so
friends. It's like
cute.
husband and wife. It's like me and you as otters, Nate.
Oh, but that one is carrying an axe. That's a battle axe.
Yeah, because you can be
It's the Age of
sweet
Otter.
and soft. What was your rating?
I'm giving this a 9. 7%, but this is light and crispy. I could drink this anytime, anywhere, and this is just great. This is wonderful.
I'm going
And
to give this one a
picture-
6.
Picture of an otter on a can. You guys both are wrong inside.
The otter's fucking
Listen,
cool.
But I respect you as people.
But that's the thing. I like the piney taste. I'm still coming around to IPAs. I can enjoy an IPA, but I think in the aspect of just how good it tastes, it's a 6.
I think I'm trying not to just do it on my scale of if I like a beer or not. I'm trying to scale it in the realm of the other IPAs I've tried. That's where I am. You're just heavy handing the fucking IPAs all the time. So I think your scale's off. But you know what? We'll talk about that on the next beer break.
Okay. I think so. You're saying maybe we should get back to the book like right now?
I said that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We are back. And it is the next day. We're back. Back?
Are one
We're
of you
back.
about to burst into an Eminem song? Because we can wait. Go for it.
Yeah. Do we need to guess who's back?
I'm not doing it.
We're back. Oh, okay. Well, it is the next morning because all the shenanigans from the hospital wing kind of just pittered away after Snape left the room because that was the guy driving most of that. Ron wakes up. Harry says, Hermione, you could explain it because I'm going to eat some chocolate. And then the next day comes.
Me and Jade were joking earlier today that this is where a soft end for the movie version of this could go.
Yes.
Where they wake up and go, hey, at the same time, so it's cutesy and shit, and then be like, hey, you explain it, then freeze frame and start to fade.
Oh, yeah. Credits roll as you start to fade. Yeah, 100%.
But that wouldn't offer any closure whatsoever. So
No, we got a few important things left.
Yeah.
So most of the students, because exams are over and, the weather's gorgeous, we're in summertime now. They're in Hogsmeade. And Harry, Ron, and Hermione use this opportunity to just kind of wander the grounds because there's not a lot of people around. And they actually make their way back to the lake where all of the Dementor action happened last night.
I have a question. If they're
Answer.
So Sirius got away.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, did I understand correctly then that this is not a school function to Hogsmeade, or this is a school function to Hogsmeade?
Don't do a great... It just says that with the sweltering heat and the end of exams, it meant that everyone was taking full advantage of another Hogsmeade visit.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's like, hey, school's kind of mostly done, so like you can just go on the
but
weekends
they're still
now.
Under the school's care.
The
so
school year is still in place.
Yeah.
Okay, so all that to say that Sirius Black gets away, technically, on the record, and now they're just letting everybody go to Hogsmeade with no precautions, knowing he's out there somewhere. The likelihood of him coming back, I'd say, is probably still pretty low. But still,
How do they know?
There's no answers to why he came.
only in the way that he just got away. Like, he's not trying to get caught again. So he'd probably stay away for a bit, reassess the situation before he came back. But I'm trying to say that them letting the students back out now that he's not been caught is ridiculous.
Listen,
Yes,
you're not
100%.
wrong. You're not wrong. Where the question is the adults not going, okay, so Sirius Black is who we thought he was. He didn't kill Harry.
Mm-hmm.
And Harry was sticking up for him. So, like, he got out to come here and then escape again. Like, this whole thing is silly.
Yeah.
So none of that makes sense. So
Doesn't
where
make
is
any
the answer?
sense.
Like, the truth isn't here, obviously.
Yeah.
There should be a larger investigation into what's going on.
There should be, but until then, on the record, Sirius Black is still a fugitive.
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
And on paper, he's not been caught. So every single parent is going to be like, why the fuck is this happening now with no Dementor protection?
Fudge says the Dementors will be pulled back because they tried to administer a kiss on a quote-unquote innocent child. Like they almost kissed Harry. So the Dementors can't be trusted in Hogwarts ground.
Yeah, that's true.
But why, other than Dumbledore, obviously we know why Dumbledore is fine with doing this, but how does every other teacher or Fudge not say, hey, Dementors are gone, but we still have security measures in place because Black has been in and out of the castle 3 times now. Why does that, are we literally, does the magic world operate on 3 strikes, you're out? Like, he got in 3 times. He can't get in a 4th.
It may
So
be
we're good.
that they couldn't stop him 3 times.
So they said, fuck it?
Now they're just saying, look, we have tried.
Yeah.
He's still getting in here, okay?
Yeah.
We can't do anything about it. We're going to try our best to be vigilant and keep an eye out, and that is all we can reasonably do right now.
Yeah. At best, it makes little sense.
The other thing I just want to point out is, again, my question about the layout of the grounds, because as far as I know, the lake has always been directly next to the castle, right? Because they bring boats right underneath the castle.
They talk about looking out at the lake from up in the tower.
I always forget about that.
Yeah.
When we're talking about the Whomping Willow, it doesn't seem like the other half is butting up to water.
Apparently it's close.
It's also on a cliff. It's
somewhat
very
close.
weird.
The Whomping Willow and the lake are supposedly very close to the castle.
Mm-hmm.
Even though in the movie they show
have
them in the woods, which is wild.
By a tiny pond, not a lake.
It's strange.
Yeah.
But we also stood on a mountain in Scotland that had a lake halfway up it. So this is also a perfectly feasible place for it to be, as long as the castle's in Scotland. I feel like it really makes sense.
Yeah, but I guess what my thing is I get this is the middle of the night, right? Prior to midnight, though, as we learned, all of this happened prior to midnight.
Yeah, at 10, 10:30, 11, maybe.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise, maybe not a ton, but you hear screams, you hear howling, you hear dog barking, all outside the windows. Not one person looks out. You see a bunch of Patronus flashes going over the lake, and not Dumbledore, Dementors flying all over the fuck.
Yeah,
not,
a bunch
not
of
one
noise
person.
and light coming. The guy from the window's not going to holler out what the fuck are
That's
you
what I'm
guys
saying.
doing?
There's not one student or anybody
Yeah.
else in the school, because the way that we're led to believe here in a second, nobody else finds out about the events of the night, which is wild to me. 3 of these students were in the hospital wing following all of these events. There's I get that maybe the whole story didn't come out, but for no one to have seen what happened, and not even Hagrid to have heard the actual, even the
Hagrid
the storyline, even the storyline of them going to the Shrieking Shack and all of that. We know Sirius Black got. Why are we hiding this?
Yeah.
Why are we even lying about that?
Yeah. Yeah, there's not one single astronomy student that just fucking loves astronomy and is out there every night at midnight looking at shit going, what's all that? Hey, probably a Ravenclaw, going, hey, Flitwick, sorry to wake you up. There's some shit going on by the lake, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make it. But yeah, so what you alluded to there is Hagrid stumbles upon the trio and, quote unquote, explains everything that happened the previous night to the trio, because obviously they would have no idea what happened.
Right.
Snape let slip that Lupin's a werewolf. They somehow, that's the other thing. I don't know if Madame Pomfrey or Fudge just was telling everyone on the way out, but Hagrid was aware that Black was caught, escaped. We knew he obviously was going to know Buckbeak escaped, but who told Hagrid that Sirius Black had been captured
That's what
and
I'm
escaped?
saying. There's parts of the story that everyone knows, but they don't know that Harry and Hermione were part of that.
Yeah, yeah.
That has to be, I get the time turner, all that shit being secret, right?
Yeah.
But the whole story about them going out, they should maybe be in trouble for sneaking around and doing some stuff. But publicly, we know that Sirius Black got out. There's no reason to not make that public knowledge. Yeah, these 3 were involved in this little weird thing.
Yeah.
And Sirius Black got out. Lupin's fired. Snape's a dickbag. They say Peter Pettigrew got loose. They might be crazy. Who do you believe?
Yeah, there's got to be a gossip column on the Daily Prophet that would pick up on that. But, the news of everyone knowing that Lupin is a werewolf, Hagrid does mention that, yep, he resigned first thing in the morning. And Harry's like, I got to go talk to him. Because, that's one of my parents' best friends, and we just went through a lot. So he runs off to Lupin's office, and Lupin very cheekily, when Harry knocks on the door, goes, knew you were coming. Saw you on the map. Remember that map I made?
Because you would have to all the time if you had it.
Yeah, and, so they kind of talk. Harry tries to get Lupin to stay, and Lupin changes the subject to talk about Harry's Patronus. And Lupin does confirm that James would turn into a stag when he would transfigure, when he, that was his animagus form. So we do get confirmation that he was a stag. That's why he was called Prongs. And then Lupin says, I'm not your teacher anymore. So I have no problems giving you back the invisibility cloak. He went and picked it up off the ground because he's a nice guy. And the map.
Better than letting Snape keep it. Fuck that.
Yeah, that's true. But I do think that this is this is the last scene that we have with Lupin in the book. It's the last chapter. We're halfway through. We're almost done. Lupin should not be a teacher. This is, to me, a perfect example of as soon as he had no official responsibility for Harry's safety, he just said, fuck it, go get in trouble. He didn't say, you don't have any parents. You probably need a parental figure. Hey, use this wisely. He goes, nah, James, you should go get into trouble with this shit. I'm not responsible for you anymore. So go be a headache to all the other teachers. Doesn't even try to give him you got to be careful with these things. He is wildly irresponsible.
We literally find out that this motherfucker knew that Sirius was an animagus, had a strong suspicion that he actually did murder a whole bunch of people, and was coming back to kill Harry Potter, and was sneaking into the castle more than one time, and he still didn't tell
Never said anything.
anybody.
He says, or no, he doesn't say it, but Black was the one who told Dumbledore that they were all animagus and stuff. It still wasn't even Lupin that told Dumbledore that.
Yeah. And so, no, he shouldn't be a teacher because he was putting all of the children in Hogwarts at risk because he didn't want his dirty little secret to get out to Dumbledore.
And he forgot, quote unquote, I don't know how you forget you're a werewolf. You have one job. Take your potion every month. He forgets to take his potion. And like we said in the last chapter, he just runs out into the grounds.
Yeah.
Potionless.
That would have been a day
come
that he
on.
had planned for at least a month.
You would
Yeah.
think.
You know what I mean?
You would think. But anyway, I mean, look, that's where I think I don't know if this was on air or not. Lupin's cool, but he's also irresponsible.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest difference is that, no, he should not actually be a teacher. He did some questionable things. I don't really hold a lot of those questionable things because the whole premise of him getting the job there is Dumbledore understood the struggles of going on with it. But you shouldn't also get a job just because of the struggles you've had either. So, no, he shouldn't probably be a teacher at the school.
Yeah.
But I also like him giving the map back to Harry. He's the guy that made the map. He knows what the map was truly made for. And I feel like the map carries with it a vibe of this is for harmless fun. You know what I mean? Pull your pranks, do your shit, but that's the spirit that it was made in. Now, of course, you could use this map for bad things, but I think that's why he doesn't give Harry any instruction with it, because he's just like, hey, I'm an agent of chaos. We all know this now, so I have to leave. I'm going to give you the thing to give you just a piece of maybe all the chaos that I am, and you can just do with it what you will with good intention.
I just also realized that Dumbledore hired Lupin knowing Sirius Black was missing and was looking, they suspected, for Harry. And at that point, nobody knew for sure. I mean, they could be argued maybe that people think Dumbledore did, but nobody knew for sure if Lupin or Sirius or who had done the bad thing. So Dumbledore, on purpose, hired somebody who may have betrayed his best friends and gotten this child killed. He hired him knowing that his best friend, who he may have been working with, was escaped from prison. Like,
he took him on knowing the current situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knowing that.
Yeah.
The timing. I get that for the book, this is narratively cool. That's why we wanted to have it. It made all the things needed to come out for the information. Mm-hmm. But from Snape's point of view, from the whole world's point of view, Dumby, you're looking sus.
Well,
that was a real bad choice as far as employment goes in this climate at this time.
Speaking of Dumby, he enters Lupin's office and, tells Lupin that his carriage is ready. And Lupin pulls a very quick Midwest goodbye and gets on out of there.
Peace.
And we get Harry and Dumbledore alone. And we get what is becoming an annual end of the year wrap up conversation with Harry and Dumbledore.
So you know what you did, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Just here to check in again, let you know.
Yeah.
So do I.
Well, and he says, Harry is looking pretty glumly, and Dumbledore's like, dude, why do you look so miserable? Like, do you realize what you did last night?
Yeah.
Because Harry doesn't think he did anything of importance. That it didn't make any difference. And like Dumbledore says, you helped uncover the truth and you saved an innocent man from a terrible fate.
Hell yeah.
And that word, terrible, triggers Harry's memory. to Trelawney's prediction.
I want to say real quick that this is kind of the equivalent of Hagrid looking Harry in the eyes in that first book and telling him, hey, you're a wizard, man. Understand that. And then this is Dumbledore looking at Harry and be like, dude, you're a fucking hero. Understand that. Like, you've leveled up, kid.
Yeah.
You're doing good things. It's all fucked up and terrible, yeah. But look at all the good you're doing.
Yeah, well, and, and they go into it, and it's, they kind of talk about, Harry explains how he heard, Trelawney made the prediction after his exam. And Harry says that, he is the reason Pettigrew escaped. Because Lupin and Black were going to kill Pettigrew. And now Pettigrew has escaped and is going to go help Voldemort return. Like, Harry is piecing together using that gut feeling he has. Pettigrew was the loyal servant in the prophecy. And he is now on his way to Voldemort. And Harry pulls a Spider-Man and says, when you have the power to stop things and you don't, if bad things happen, they happen because of you.
It's your fault.
With great power comes great responsibility. Now, Dumbledore does counter by saying that basically, like, other people's actions are not your fault. Like, you let Pettigrew live, but he doesn't have to go to Voldemort.
Yeah.
And even if he does, Voldemort is going to have a servant close to him that owes you a debt. And Dumbledore makes what I would say is somewhat of a thinly veiled prophecy. It says that someday that will come back in your favor. We will pin that, and we will see if someday that comes back in Harry's favor.
I know I pointed this out earlier, but I'm pretty sure it's episode 1 or maybe 2 where Dumbledore knows shit is said on this podcast because he just always seems to fucking know what's coming next. I mean, a time turner. Okay, so McGonagall gives this to Hermione. Dumbledore, he's familiar with it, obviously, right? Because he gives her the instruction. So because of that, I think Dumbledore has done this all a few times and is secretly just working out the one way for it all to work correctly. That's what all 7 years are like, 7 more rotations of him going through in the time turner. And that's why he knows everything as it is.
There's a more discussion of, Dumbledore saying like, hey, I knew your dad. As I was headmaster, he was a student, but I also knew him after Hogwarts. He's like, I believe your dad would have come to the same decision. He would have also told his friends to spare Pettigrew. Because again, I mean, I'm also in agreement, but not because like sparing him is the right thing to do. No. I want to see Pettigrew in Azkaban for the rest of his life.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want him to die because I want him to suffer for the rest of his life.
I just think that there's it's not like we had to either do things the way we did them or kill him. We should have fucking frozen him as a rat or a person, either way, so he can't fucking move. And I'm just mad about it. Mad about it.
And, I know things happened very quickly, but maybe, Harry, if you would have went right away to Dumbledore and said that you think you heard Trelawney make a prediction.
God damn it, yes.
Maybe that night would have played out different. Maybe Dumbledore would have went back in time with you.
Anytime before midnight, if you would have mentioned it to anybody.
Yeah, that probably would have been good
you
as well.
Motherfucker.
But, Harry was probably...
Tell Hagrid. Hagrid's drunk ass would have gone bumbling back to the castle.
Oh,
and been like,
100%.
do you know what fucking Harry told me earlier?
Yeah, 100%.
God damn it.
I think Harry, he had a little bit of an overload of emotions, and I feel like, we're getting a little bit overloaded. Maybe it's just me. I'm getting a little overloaded with my emotions right now.
Well, not me.
So, never.
Never me.
So we're going to take a quick little break so I can calm down. And we'll be back right after this.
You need to calm down.
We are back at the bringing up of Harry's dad. Harry, kind of says, you know what? There's going to be one person who is going to take me seriously when I say I think I saw my dad last night, and that's Dumbledore, so I'm going to shoot my shot. And he does. He says that he thought the first time around that it was his dad that cast the Patronus. He thought his dad had came back. Papa, make the Dementos go. And Dumbledore gives a little bit of an explanation that, with the magic and the power of love, those that we truly love will never fully leave us.
The power of love.
Yeah. Nice sentiment.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes back to our original, like to the first book, right? Where he's like, your mom protected you and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I really feel like, if there's any other special, like, love powers, though, we should cover them, right?
Yeah, I feel like that could be part of a curriculum.
Like, at some point, well, like, at least for Harry specifically.
Oh, yeah.
If there's anything, like, now, any point, you could probably bring up some of those finer details if there's any other things to mention.
Problem with Harry is Harry's not good with follow-ups.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
And Dumbledore's like, I ain't giving you shit if you don't ask for it.
Yeah, he doesn't.
And even if you do.
Dumby doesn't give out handouts unless it's house points at the end of the year. Speaking of house points at the end of the year, I'm not sure what sort of a time jump we have here. This is a weird point in the book where, like, we were talking on break. Exams are done, but, like, there's still classes.
There's still announcements to be had.
I don't really know what's going on.
I wonder if this is the time when the older students are taking their OWLs and the NDWTs and all of those things. Yeah, and it's like there's the 2-week exam period where the rest of the students are all living, because they're only going to transport everybody. Like, it's a major happening.
Yeah.
So they do it all at once, and there's a little bit of kill time for the younger kids. And that's kind of the way I pictured it, but it's probably not right.
I think it just doesn't make sense because I think in later books, things are a little bit different as far as how they get their grades.
Yeah, we were talking about like Fred and George get their OWL results at the end of the year, but Harry, Ron, and Hermione, spoiler alert, they make it to their 5th year and take their OWLs. They have to wait until the next summer to get results.
It's weird.
But some time passes. In the downtime, Harry's he's pretty gloom because, he's kind of thinking about what could have been. He thought he was going to be living with his godfather in a house where magic was not just going to be allowed, but celebrated.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get that anymore.
And then he had to watch the guy just fly away.
But Gryffindor did with the House Cup, thanks to their strong Quidditch performance.
Well, that's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
I know he was stoked about his godfather, but they won the Quidditch Cup, so nothing else matters.
Yeah. Now we finally make it to the train ride home. We are on the Hogwarts Express, and Hermione admits that she is going to drop Muggle studies, even though Ron points out that she scored 316% on her final exam, which I would argue is wildly irresponsible of the Muggle Studies professor to allow that scenario to happen.
Yeah, for a couple of reasons.
She fucked that curve.
But here's the thing.
God forbid someone was trying to shoot for 80%.
We talked about this in like episode 2 of this season, where if I'm a teacher and Hermione hands me 3 scrolls, I hand 2 of them right back to her and say, I will grade this first one.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what's important for grades? Following the rules.
Yeah. I asked for 1 because that's my time that I got to grade this shit on, and I don't want to be doing it all night.
It's like that meme picture where it's supposed to be like a think smarter, not harder, and it shows like a bunch of cartoon figures pushing blocks, and then it shows one guy like having recently chiseled away the block, and it's a sphere, and he's pushing it. Someone did a follow-up on that where it's like, what do you mean he gave you a sphere? Yes, I know you ordered 20 blocks. It was, goddamn it, it was fucking Richard. Richard is always doing this shit. It's like, no, you need to do what you're asked sometimes.
Yeah.
See, but there is also the possibility that everybody else in Muggle Studies just bombs it so bad that the teacher was like, okay, guys, we have our final exam. Here are some things you can do for extra credit, and they are each worth this much.
Yeah.
And most of the kids needed that to get to like 80%, right?
Yeah.
But Hermione was able to get 100% on her quiz and then do all of the extra credit.
Yeah.
To be like, here you go.
Yeah.
Now what?
I just, sometimes you need to fail. You can learn a lot through failure sometimes.
Yeah, you can fail up.
Hey, the Bogger fucked her up.
Yeah, that's true.
She did cry about that.
That's true. That is true. Well, as they're kind of discussing, or the main point there being that Hermione turns in the time turner.
Which is wild that she has to. Because, not that she has to,
Whoa,
right?
wild that she has to.
that she isn't made to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, was she just going to be able to keep that over the summer holiday?
Well, not only that, but she signed a whole bunch of contracts stating that she was only going to be using it for her studies.
Oh.
And at the end of the year, her and her bestie went on a little excursion and helped a convicted felon and 2 convicted felons escape their murders.
Yeah.
So I feel like there should be some type of tracking, and if they saw her not using it in the way she was supposed to, she took a ride along.
Yeah, hey,
that's a hard no.
Why'd you turn back 3 hours at midnight last Saturday? That's not school hours.
No reason.
Yeah.
Now it just says that the time turner was driving me mad. I've handed it in. It doesn't say that she was not told she has to hand. Maybe she was told.
I
I don't think
what
so.
they told Hermione. They're like, Hermione, this is driving you crazy. Give it back.
I am in full agreement with you. I think she handed it over, which the whole thing doesn't make sense. But we have the summer to look forward to. And most importantly, the Quidditch World Cup is this summer, and Ron invites Harry over. He says, why don't hey, I'll have you over. We'll head to the Quidditch World Cup. And Harry even says, that's probably totally going to be fine. Because I don't think the Dursleys are going to want me in the house for all summer after what I did to Aunt Marge.
After what I tell them I've been up to and who I'm buddies with now.
Oh, we're going to get there.
Hell yeah.
We're going to get there because we are interrupted pretty quickly after that by some tapping on the window. And there's an owl outside, a very small owl.
That is flying next to the
train.
Yeah, trying to keep up with the train. Adorable.
So earlier in my chapter summary, when I said at a magical velocity, you probably thought I meant the Hogwarts Express. No, I'm talking about this fucking owl somehow keeping up with the Hogwarts
Hauling
Express.
ass.
That owl is the fucking Flash.
No, the audiobook, dude, he says minute owl, right? And when I read it, I'm pretty sure it's spelled minute owl, isn't it? Is minute and minute the same word?
Oh, they're spelled the same. Minute and minute are spelled the exact same way.
I've never realized that, I guess, until this very fucking moment.
Yeah.
And so now I'm wondering, which was it supposed to be?
It's a good
because
point.
I always thought it was a minute owl because you could only send it for like a minute because it was tiny.
Oh, yeah. It's supposed to be for short trips or something, maybe.
I'm looking up right now, and like obviously a minute owl is
Would be small.
a classification of a small owl. There is the smallest owl, which is not what he has.
But do you think it's minute or minute?
Oh, it's minute. Minute.
It's minute.
Yeah. Yeah. I might be wrong. But this...
I'm pretty sure it's minute.
Hey, this...
I think my reasoning was correct.
Oh, no, Jade, your explanation would convince people, I'm sure. If they thought it was minute or minute and you just did that, I bet you there's at least a couple people. That's like, no, the minute makes sense.
It is a minute owl with the nickname of being a minute owl.
Oh, it could be both. Could be both. Hey.
My brain is, I never even considered it was said the other way. Okay, go.
Yes. We do find out this is a letter from Sirius. And he's doing fine. Him and Buckbeak are fine. They're not going to say where they are, just in case. But he is apparently
smart,
very far away from Hogwarts. And he says he's going to let himself be seen by some muggles. So they lighten up security on Hogwarts. And it's like, hey, Sirius, don't worry about that, pal.
No need.
They already removed all the security anyway.
Turns out they didn't give a fuck for most of the year. And now they just really don't care.
Yeah. Well, he does confirm that he is the one that sent Harry the firebolt, which means Hermione was technically correct.
Everybody was right,
except
is the people who thought it was cursed.
Yeah, which, as we know, is the best form of correct.
I love them where they're like, yeah, but it wasn't fucking cursed, was it? I could have had it the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Wild that 2 animals were able to go into Gringotts and then into Quality Wizard Supplies or Quidditch Supplies and buy this shit, but okay.
Another thing which is a little bit funny is that before he got the broom and we were worried that it came from Sirius Black, so that it might have been cursed or hexed. And now that we know that it came from Sirius Black, we know that it would not have been cursed or hexed because he would have never done that to Harry.
Yeah.
For like the same reason on opposite sides.
And also, he doesn't have a wand, right? He didn't have a wand.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he
as
has
far
no
as
wand.
we know, he doesn't have a wand.
Yeah.
Which is weird because
I've
I'm
always been confused.
holding it in my hand
I've always
as
been
we
confused
speak.
about that.
That is a good question. Where the fuck did Sirius get a... Well, no, because it's never... I got to go back and check to
Also,
see if he's had a
Voldemort's
wand.
and Wormtails.
I've never been more curious about 3 other dudes' wands before.
He
But-
probably just grabbed like keys off the thing at a used car dealership. He's just like leaving Azkaban, checks the wall.
That one.
That one.
Yeah. Now, Sirius also says that it was him all the way back earlier in the book that scared Harry after he ran away from his aunt and his uncle. He was the mysterious creature in between the fence and the garage, or whatever it was. I don't remember.
Note
Well,
for
yeah.
the future, Sirius. If you want to have a conversation at that point, do not
Yeah.
appear in the dark like a huge black dog
Yeah.
that looks intimidating, scary, and frankly, a little hungry.
Listen, I would much rather this man show up as a big ass fucking dog.
Yeah, pet
in
the
dark.
dog.
Yeah, if he showed up as a greasy, creepy, skeleton looking man in an alley, I would be way more terrified.
Yeah. The cherry on top of the cake for Harry. And this is what really sets him off because like I said, he's been pretty gloom lately. Sirius has signed a permission slip for Hogsmeade for the rest of Harry's Hogwarts career. Signed it as his godfather. And like Harry even says, like, hey, I'm just going to give this to Dumbledore. We're going straight to Dumbledore with this note.
Yeah.
Because if I hand this to McG,
We're not
I
sending this
think-
one up the chain.
I think I'm going to get some
No.
questions if I try to hand this to McG.
But then next year, when she's like, "Where do you think you're going?" and he's like, "I gave my permission to slip to Dumbledore," and
Yeah.
she's like, "I'm gonna have to look at that."
Yeah, I feel like a weird conversation's going to get had about that
Yeah.
permission slip. I wish I was a fly on the wall for that conversation. We don't get to find out. What we do find out is that this owl is actually a gift for Ron.
Fuck yeah.
Because, in Sirius's own words, he kind of took Ron's old pet from him.
Sorry I killed your old pet.
yeah,
Here,
sorry
have
about
a
that.
new pet.
Here's a new one that's loud, annoying, small, energetic.
Maybe
not-
you had a rat for a reason. You didn't want an owl, but here we are.
Yeah.
But it is also extremely tiny and extremely cute. And how are you going to look this thing in the eye and say, no, I don't want you? You're a liar.
And nobody else has ever had this one before.
Yeah,
Really?
not a hand-me-down.
Oh, yeah.
It's a brand new pet for Ron.
This is squeaky clean, brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
That's important.
Ron does one of the most heartwarming
It's
things I
Ron.
think here. Because goddamn it, Book Ron is amazing.
I love.
He holds out the owl to Crookshanks. Is this an owl?
What you think, Cap?
Owl?
Is this a person?
Yeah, is this a person
Is there
in
a guy in
disguise?
there? You fucking let me know, won't you?
But Crookshanks purrs, and Ron says, that's good enough for me.
That's
Ron-
also Crookshanks saying, sorry, I killed your pet. Technically.
Yeah, and Ron decides that's good enough. That is his owl now. We make it back to King's Cross Station. Harry is picked up by the Dursleys after saying goodbye to Ron and Hermione. And Uncle Vernon notices that Harry's got a letter in his hand and says, hey, is that another stupid-ass permission slip? He goes, no, it's a letter from my godfather. Which, of course, Uncle Vernon, you don't have a godfather. Oh, Uncle Vernon. Yes, I do.
Oh, my, but dear you sweet, silly, stupid man.
You see, Uncle Vernon,
Let me explain to you the way the universe works now.
my mom and dad had a best friend.
Mm-hmm.
That best friend is a convicted murderer, and he's broke out of wizarding prison on the run. And he likes to keep in touch to make sure I'm happy. Good to see you too, Uncle Vernon.
Nice to see you, motherfucker.
They take off and head back to the Privet Drive, and that is the end of not only the chapter, but that is the end of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Now we're still going to do a back cover. So when I say, do we have final thoughts? Not so much as a book as a whole, but how do we feel about this chapter? Everything has, quote unquote, been resolved.
I like the train ride home always.
Mhm.
The little,
Oh, yeah.
It's always weird that Harry's not like, I could just come straight home with you guys though. Like, right?
Yeah, why do I have to go back there?
Yeah, can I just go to the Weasleys now?
They're way more happy to have me.
Now, I do. Harry kind of talks about like he doesn't want to be a burden sometimes. Like he knows he's an extra mouth to feed. He knows that the Weasleys don't have a ton of money. So it might be like Harry's humbleness that's like, I can't ask. Ron's going to say yes. So I can't ask to stay at his house all summer. So maybe that, but seriously, ask.
Teaching practical magic, I can wash dishes with my wand like a motherfucker you would not believe.
You know what you do? You go, hey, Ron, I'll come visit you for the 2 weeks around the World Cup. Hey, Hermione, is it okay if I come visit you 2 weeks prior to the World Cup?
Bingo.
Hey, Seamus Finnegan, can I come visit you 2 weeks prior to visiting Hermione? Hey, Dean Thomas.
All the people that I've met at Hogwarts, would you like to host the now world famous Harry Potter at your house for a couple of weeks?
Yeah. I feel like a few people would take him up on that offer.
Oh, yeah.
I do think I love all the pet.
Oh, yeah.
The pet time in this one. I do think it's strange that these 3 13-year-olds find out that you could be an animagus, and not only is it as not that hard because 3 other kids figured it out. You don't even have to register if you do it that way. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, top of my mind at this point would be like, okay, yeah, the rest of our lives, all that cool. I'm gonna find out how to be an animal. That's my top priority in life now.
Hey,
Jade's making best friends with McG.
This current year that I am in, my dad was 1 year into studying how to turn into an animal.
Yeah,
I have catching up to do. I am going to turn into an animal.
You guys in or out? I don't care if you are.
Yeah,
I'm doing this.
Harry, we don't think you should. I didn't say what's your thoughts on me doing this.
Yeah.
I said I'm doing it.
This is going to be the cut scene at the end of the book. The credits roll, right? Harry has achieved his, hey, let me stay with a number of people before and after the Quidditch World Cup. Harry and Ron walk into Ron's room. Ron slowly shuts the door behind him. And immediately they go both, okay, how are we going to do this? And then he pulls out the whole book on anime just and how it works and everything.
Yeah.
They fucking make it happen.
That's all I'm saying. I don't... the idea that it's introduced to us that it could be done, it can't be done by teenagers, and our main characters don't ever turn into animals? What the fuck? Okay.
Yeah.
Jade's like, I'm going to be an armadillo next week. Bet on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I always like the end of year wrap ups with Harry and Dumbledore too. We've got, we're 3 for 3 so far. We've had, it was in the hospital wing, then it was in his office. Now it's in Lupin's office, for each book so far. Always like those. They make me feel like I'm growing as a person sometimes. Like, oh, thank you, Dumbledore, for telling me that through this book. I did need to hear those words.
I do feel like, though, it's always like he's dropping more breadcrumbs every time, and he's like, why are we not having more of these conversations?
Yeah.
But again, that just goes back to Harry just being like, okay, I don't care that much about this shit until I'm gonna die, and then I need to be caught up.
I'm at a school full of professors that knew my parents. Not gonna ask them one goddamn question. I mean, I don't know. I feel again like normal. We could probably go on forever, but I think for this chapter, I think that's about all we've said, all that we can say. Without making this a 5-hour podcast, that is.
Did you say your thoughts on the chapter?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you wanted to let us know what you thought about this episode or this chapter, you could send an owl of your very own to podcastatt@gmail.com, or you could follow us on any of our social medias. If you really enjoyed this episode, you can go to patreon.com/podcastatt and sign up for a tier of any amount. We've got live episodes. We've got a Discord. We've got a bunch of stuff on there for you to enjoy. But I would like to thank you, each and every one of you witches and wizards, for joining us for this fucking book. I have had such a crazy good time recording this with the both of you. So thank you guys for doing this with me as well. Aww. You two in the room. I'm talking. You guys are just like, is he fucking done talking yet or what? We've got other shit.
You, Nick.
But thank you, everyone, for listening, and we will see you real soon.
Bye.
Hey, I know.
Bye.
I know it's actually, this is going to time out pretty well. Hey, everyone, have a kick-ass summer. Bye.